Hello, hello. Welcome back to ArcheTAP, where every Thursday night we talk about, tap on, and meditate on a different archetype. And right now we're making our way through the major arcana series of the Tarot. And we are on week 7, which is crazy. We're doing the Chariot today. So I've got a couple versions that we'll look at, kind of go over the symbolism found within the card. Really, it's the card of get your shit together. If you're looking at it from its shadowy side, like if it were showing up in a reading for you. It's like... So just to remind us what an archetype is, as defined by Richard Rudd, it is a compressed idea containing many dimensions of meaning, imagery, and feeling. Archetypes resonate with deep universal themes in the unconscious of all human beings, regardless of race, genetics, or conditioning. And when you continuously contemplate and identify with a particular archetype, it has the capacity to transform your state of consciousness from a low frequency to a higher frequency. So when we meet here, it definitely benefits us, but it benefits us all because we are us all. So, all right, let's get into it a little bit. Yeah, so this is card number 7. So if you have a life path number 7, this is the kind of leans more towards your immature ego. And then if you were born in July, this is the card for Cancers. So that would be your inner essence, your childlike essence that you would take with you throughout the rest of your life. In what is his name? I just brain farted. So sorry. In John Randall Price's book, I don't know where I put it. He talks about the archetypes of the tarot as angels. So this is the angel of victory and triumph. And the key word here is tenacity. It's aligned with the Egyptian god Serapis, who I hadn't really heard of before. I don't have a lot to talk about him. Just he was a Greek and Egyptian god, and I think when Greece and Egypt were kind of going back and forth in control, they tried to use this god to join together two different peoples, but he basically represented like an aspect of the sun also, which makes sense. It's the divine meaning of this card is triumph over obstacles that life would put in your path. It's victory achieved through personal effort. Some of the keywords associated, some of the positive keywords associated would be success, confidence, disciplined action. And some of the negative, shadowier sides are impatience, tyrannical, exploitative, or just failure. Okay, so I know each week we kind of go through the symbolism on both cards. Really the major difference that I see here is that the traditional universal weight has the sphinxes at the pulling the chariot, and this one has horses. I'm just going to go with this guy for a second here. So the stars that are up above him and then these moons are representing his intuition and the chariot's instincts. He's this general that has just come home from battle victorious. So he's sitting in his chariot. And a lot of them, it looks like he is moving forward. And this one, it doesn't necessarily, especially because the sphinxes are seated. I think it gives the illusion that there's no movement happening, but it's definitely implied. This card is about forward motion into your life. So he's holding a wand. Wands are about willpower. There's this winged crest symbol down here, which is more about inspiration and guidance on his path. And then the sphinxes, or the horses in the other card that I have, represent duality. So it's one is the material realm, one is the spiritual realm, one is logic, one is emotion. And how do you find balance or between those two? Because obviously he can't pull his chariot if the horses or the sphinxes go in two different directions, or they're going to crash or they're going to go nowhere. So you have to find perfect balance within that duality. So yeah, he's the hero. He just came home. It's the chariot is the archetype of courage. It's perseverance and it's effort that brings success. The chariot equals the vehicle that's going to carry the mission to accomplishment, which I think I didn't put this together until just this moment, but when we get into the tapping and the meditation part here in just a little bit, I want us to consider that this is a vehicle that's going to get us where we want to go. So we've got problems, we need solutions so that we can be victorious over those problems. And what does that vehicle look like to you? So to be able to move forward, the sphinxes or the horses have to move in tandem or they're going to crash. So the chariot drives us to excellence, especially when it comes to vulnerability and keeping our heart open, which you might not think of when you see this card initially. But because vulnerability really is so powerful, even though we don't always consider it, it doesn't feel like it in the moment sometimes when we're being vulnerable in our relationships or whatever, it feels like, death first. But really, when you can be vulnerable, it brings more love, which is very, very powerful. So his downsides, could be that he could have some narcissistic tendencies and a belief that he is invulnerable. He's just come back from battle. He's going to win all battles. But the truth is that someone who can admit their weaknesses, their fears, and find success in spite of them, that is what brings glory. That's what, brings victory and triumph over whatever the problem might be. So I kind of kept that one more succinct and short today because I think the meditation itself is going to be longer. So before we get into the tapping, I would love it if you would both write 3 quick problems that are going on in your life. Like mine were just words. It was like money, relationships, and trust. So, and then just kind of set them to the side. I think we'll just go with those. Okay. Got them. Give me a head nod. Okay, so before we do the tapping, I chose to take this tapping in the direction of being in the present moment, of learning how to acknowledge that, and this is tricky, the solution to our problem is not in the future. The solution to our problem is right now. And so what does that look like? What does it mean to live in the now? We talk about it, I talk about it generally, but I think most of the time I do not live in the present moment. I'm either, somewhere in the future tripping, or I'm in my past going over stupid regret or whatever the fuck. And it's better. I'm cleaning up my thoughts and my internal stuff all the time, which is awesome. But I know that there is a lot of work to be done. So that's why we're doing this. But okay. Start tapping on the side of the hand. Take a big, deep letting go breath. And repeat after me. I've got some problems. sometimes I think thoughts like, my abundance is on its way. But what I'm really saying is, I need money. Or sometimes I think, this relationship is being healed. But that means my relationship's a mess right now. Or I think my health is being restored. But that implies that I am not very healthy right now. So even though I have a hard time being present and feeling the unity of divine consciousness, I choose to deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. Even though I've been waiting to be delivered from my problems, some future date, I choose to love and accept myself. Okay. Right? Those are tricky. As soon as I was reading these examples, I was like, well, I'm fucked. I'm doing it all wrong. Getting started tapping on the top of the head. I always think my problems will be solved someday. I love to think about my problems. But with all that thinking, I can't always hear myself. I can't hear my own answers. As I look at the world, noticing anything less than ideal, a problem. And I am calling forth a remedy. First, I choose to clean up my past. I choose to forgive myself. I choose to forgive others. I choose to absolve myself of guilt. Because I am ready for victory. In every undesirable condition. I'm ready to triumph. Over any situation in my life that lacks harmony, is out of balance. So I call on the chariot. And the angel of victory. to fill my consciousness with its energy. And to this angel, I say, in preparation for this meeting with you, I'm going to release any feeling of failure I've ever had. Anytime I've felt low. I choose to see only victory. I have really overcome some terrible shit. So I know it's possible. I've done it before. I'll do it again. But this time with active help. It's gonna make it so much easier. And easier is the way. I choose to see only victory everywhere. Everyone is achieving their soul purpose. I choose to notice it. For the good of all, I'm going inside. I'm going to work on focusing, holding the vision, that I am precious, that I am glorious, that I am that I am. I'm going to practice until I really feel it. I choose to understand my problem and my solution exist simultaneously. So now is the time for my victory. I must live in the present moment. So I do. Okay. All right. So I wanted that to set us up and prep us for the meditation part, because I am going to ask you to hold on to some feelings that are most likely uncomfortable, to really allow yourself to sit in the presence as I make some statements about how glorious you are. We have a hard time with that. We just do. So I'd be easy on yourself. Let it be a practice. It takes practice. It just takes practice. We're not used to holding visions of what we want. We're used to holding visions of what we don't want. So it just takes a little extra effort at first. So be gentle with yourself. Ask the chariot to fucking help you. Okay, so check in with your posture, please. Adjust it if you need to, so that your head's on your neck, shoulders are over your hips. You can feel your energy flow. Let your eyelids go heavy. Take a couple deep breaths. Ask your body to relax. Notice any sticky spots that want to hold tension. Every breath you take, you settle in just a little bit more. Every breath you take, lets go of more tension. Until you're so relaxed, almost feel like you're floating. Envision yourself standing at the entrance to a forest. You can feel a gentle breeze. The air is filled with the smells of a forest, the soil, the cedars, the sense of nature. A path opens up in this forest right in front of you, and you step into it. With each step, you move deeper into the woods. As you walk along the forest path, notice how the sunlight filters through the leaves. Creates a beautiful kind of dappled effect on the ground. You feel the soft earth beneath your feet. As you make your way through this path, you see a small clearing. As you enter this clearing, the space transforms. And suddenly you are in your sacred space. This space is uniquely yours. It's a sanctuary for you. It is very tranquil. As you arrive, take a moment to just notice some details that are in the space. The sights, the sounds, the sensations. Every breath you take while you're in this space just produces more relaxation. You're going to take a seat. So in front of you, a cushion or a chair, whatever that looks like in your mind's eye, appears in front of you. And you take a plop down. Once you sit, take a few more deep breaths. Today, you're going to have the opportunity to meet and have a conversation with the chariot and the angel of victory and triumph. When you're ready, invite them in. Visualize their presence in front of you Imagine them taking a seat across from you. Beam love and feel them beaming love back to you. Ask him to remove any thoughts that are distorted, that are accidentally causing you to create shit you don't want. Ask him to guide you through the maze of 3D life, 3D obstacles. Understand as best you can that as soon as you ask, it is done. I want you to imagine a laser beam focus in your mind. Your role in the grand scheme of life is to know that you have already won. So if you've already won, then begin to focus on the wholeness of I am. Just repeating, almost like a mantra, the wholeness of I am. Trying to feel what it feels like to feel whole. Focus your thoughts on the abundance that I am. The success that I am. The desire I am. We focus tension on these thoughts. Holding tension might be the wrong word, but it might feel tense because there might be resistance inside of you to these words. You just ask it to go. Ask to feel whole. Ask to feel abundant, that you are abundant, that you are success, that you are your desires met. Because you do know your abundance. You know that the universe is infinitely abundant, that the universe is infinitely whole. The universe is infinitely successful. And you are a part of that directly. Begin to relax your focus a bit. And then ask the angel in front of you, how can I trust better? What can I do to live more and more in the present moment. If you think it's helpful, write these down in your mind's eye and then stick them in your left front pocket, these answers. As your conversation continues, express gratitude for their presence, any insights or guidance that you've received, but stay as long as you like. Ask as many questions as you have, as you want to. Understanding that you have the power to conjure these types of feelings of wholeness and abundance anytime you want, any moment you want. I'll see you next week.